How do you articulate a joke? And to understand this, we're going to observe the communication of Akshay Kumar, one of the funniest actors spanning multiple generations.
You're a nice boy actually.
शाना भी होगा
वो ठीक है, वो तो सभी होते हैं.
आपके
तो क्या लगता है वो पीछे कैमरामैन बैठा है, उसने 2 बार ऐसे ऐसे उठा के शाणे से ले लिया उसने. वो कम शाना है तेरे पीछे.
Wicked Sunny. So we're going to dive deep into this interview he recently had with Yashashvi Acharya. And we're going to go into the minute details. So if you watch this interview in one shot, you will be entertained. But we've rewatched this multiple times so that we can learn some practical methods that you and I can utilize in our conversations to be just a little funnier. So in this video, we're going to get into how to improve your communication delivery to be naturally humorous, 2 practical jokes you can copy paste in any conversation, and how to use humor to create deeper connections. By the way, if you're new here, my name is Pradeep from Frantically Speaking. We release communications content regularly. So if you're into that, hit subscribe. And if you want to take your communications learning to the next level, you can click the link in the description to check out our courses and see if we can work together. Now, the very first thing we want to understand is the delivery style of actually putting a joke forward. Because the point of cracking any joke is to create some form of banter and not to really hurt somebody. But the problem I've had very often is when I try to tell a joke, it might end up hurting somebody without me even realizing it. And I realized that more than the words itself, it's much more to do with my delivery style that can help this process. To understand this, watch this clip from the interview.
केसरी 1 बैटल ग्राउंड पे थी, केसरी 2 अब कोर्ट रूम में है. तो केसरी 1 में आप धूप में लड़ रहे थे, थोड़ा थक गए, इसलिए अब कोर्ट रूम की तरफ शिफ्ट हो गए हैं.
बिल्कुल नहीं. अभी आप अगर मेरे साथ रेस लगा लो तो देख लेते हैं कौन पहले आएगा. थका तो नहीं हूँ बिल्कुल भी.
So if you notice, he delivers this with a very friendly tone and a smile on his face. Now the same words can be said differently by him saying, yeah, you think I'm tired? Why don't you and I go on a race and let's see who gets tired first? And that can immediately bring the mood down of a conversation. Now this sounds obvious when it's seen in black and white and I'm exaggerating the tone, but sometimes we forget that when we crack a joke, we're so focused on the words, we might not think too much about the delivery style, which can ruin the impact. But delivery style aside, what are some practical ways or jokes that you can utilize in actual conversations? Let's look at an example from the interview. But before you watch the clip, just know that in the interview, they are discussing certain memes of Akshay Kumar that tend to go viral. These are essentially very famous lines or dialogues from his movies, which are still remembered even today, even though the movies are very old. And they're playing this game called This or That, where Yashashvi asks him a question to choose between this or that, and he has to choose one.
ये मीम का रेफरेंस है जो कि बहुत वायरल है. जलीना और मेरे कल.
क्या ले रूपा नालिया.
So if you saw here, he was given 2 options of 2 memes, but he picked a third completely different one. And this follows a fundamental principle of comedy, which is known as the rule of unexpectedness. When somebody gives us 2 options, they're expecting us to answer in one of those 2 ways. But if we break that pattern and think of something completely different, that can help to break the pattern of the conversation and incite humor. It sounds so boring when it's broken down in a step-by-step way. But for instance, if somebody asks you, hey, do you prefer working from office or from your home? And instead of saying, oh, I prefer this or that, you can simply say, oh, I prefer to not work at all. So in conversations, the more unexpected we can be in certain limits, the easier it is to make the conversation fun as opposed to keeping it very logical. Now let's look at a second joke that you can apply. Now they're still playing the this or that game where she had asked him a question initially which he didn't respond to.
Number 1, केसरी 1 और केसरी 2.
केसरी 1 और केसरी 2, केसरी 1 और केसरी 2. यार ये नहीं कर सकता आदमी. आप ये गलत आप कर रहे हैं.
थोड़ा सा सर.
इट इज़ वेरी डिफिकल्ट फॉर मी टू चूज फ्रॉम दीज 2. मैं आपसे हाथ जोड़ के विनती करता हूँ, दूसरा कुछ पूछ लो.
Okay.
Now calling back on that, she tries to make a joke with him by saying this, and just watch how he responds.
सर ऐसे आपने फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन का आंसर नहीं दिया तो थोड़ा सा चलो ठीक है, कोई बात नहीं. मैं ये सुनना चाह रही थी.
पेमेंट नहीं होगी.
नहीं.
Now that one line of, oh, did you feel bad, can be utilized in multiple ways and different variations of it, not just those words specifically. For example, if someone asks you, hey, why weren't you at the party last night? Instead of saying, oh, I had too much work and it was just not a good time for me, we can just simply say, why did you miss me? And then we can get to the serious reasons after we are done with a bit of banter. And talking about going to the serious reason, that is the final principle to keep in mind, which is the rule of oscillation. It means when we are trying to be funny, we don't want a conversation to just be joke. We instead want a good mix of seriousness and banter, just like how the overall interview was. He is cracking all these jokes, but at the same time, he's also getting into serious topics and responding with a good amount of depth.
आज़ादी हमें एक प्लेटर पे नहीं मिली, इसके पीछे कई लोगों के सैक्रिफाइस, कई कहानियां हैं. आज जब हम अपने फ्रीडम को टेकन फॉर ग्रांटेड लेते हैं तो मुझे लगता है ये फिल्म याद दिलाएगी कि फ्रीडम के राइट्स के साथ रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी भी आती है. सो वी हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड हाउ मच स्ट्रगल people have gone through.
And this is very important for a well-rounded conversation where the other person walks away feeling some sort of connection. To give you the opposite example of this, one of my favorite actors, Andy Samberg, had given a graduation speech, which I do not like because it's constantly joke after joke after joke with no proper takeaways.
I'm gonna go cry in the bathroom.
For any presentation, conversation, or setting that you're in, humor is important, but only when it's balanced with some form of depth and meaning. And if you want to know how to structure your communication in those serious moments effectively, we've created an entire video using another famous celebrity, Priyanka Chopra, and you can check out her video right here.